It's all about developing relationships.
We were there to serve the public. We were to do the right things with our buyers and sellers.
The brokerage actually started in 1949 as Adrian Howell and Company, and later changed to Adrian Howell and Covington when Jim Covington became co-owner in 1957. In the late 1960s, Max Toles purchased half of the brokerage and it became Covington and Toles.
Max was a very motivated salesperson and very likable, very friendly, good personality, and resourceful in the areas that he was most interested in, which was residential real estate. He was tenacious in everything he did. He slept and breathed real estate.
When I graduated from Georgia Tech, I was supposed to go into the Army, and I went to Fort Mack in Atlanta for my last flight physical and got a 4F. So I could not go into the Army and could not fly. So I was trying to figure out what to do, and out of the blue, Jim Covington called me, heard I did not have a job, and I was not going into the service, and would I come help him in Rome, Georgia? And so we kind of struck a deal. I lived in his apartment in his house and worked on with his building crews, kind of managed them, although they knew more than I knew. And that's how I got there. He was a partner with Max Toles.
When I first moved to Rome, I rented an apartment over on Listus Drive, and Max Toles didn't own them, but he managed them. And so that was my first contact with with Max Toles. And I remember the rent was $10 a month, and I had been paying $85 where I'd been, so I negotiated $10 off my rent so if I'd cut the grass, and he agreed to that. So that was my first dealings with Max Toles.
Later on, Max brought in Brooke Temple, and Brooke and I shared an office for a couple of years and got to be good friends. I think we both of us enjoyed the real estate business.
Back in 1972, Mr. Covington sold his interest to Max Toles, and Max Toles in turn sold me 50% of the Toles, Temple and Wright. The only people that were in that office were Max Toles, Rick Brinkman, Sarah Gaston, and a secretary. It wasn't Toles, Temple and Wright at that point, it was just Toles Temple. That was a short-lived name because we took on Sarah Wright, who was an independent broker. So we proposed that she come with the company, not as an owner or broker, but as a well-thought-of agent, and we would entitle her name in the name of the company, Toles, Temple and Wright. That's how that got there.
Sarah was quite the character to work with, extremely successful real estate agent in Rome. She was on the phone 24/7, knew everybody, went to lunch with someone every day. She was really a good person to watch and to listen to on the phone. My office was next door to hers, and I picked up a lot of ideas from her on how to contact people and stay in touch with them, and to stroke them, and to help them remember who I was.
Sarah was beyond belief. She could control her clients like nobody could control anybody. And she had a good book of business. She knew everybody in town. That's why we wanted her connected with our company. She was very good for Toles, Temple and Wright for years.
Sarah was unreal. She called me before I came over there and welcomed me to the company. She was always available.
Sarah was she was a wealth of knowledge also, and had more people know her than anything else.
She was so sweet, so helpful. She was a special person.
Max was one of the best, sharpest salespeople I've ever known. He always wanted to get into something else along with that, and therefore Max eventually burned out in the real estate sales industry and moved on. But Max was an excellent salesman.
We were there to serve the public, and we were to do the right things with our buyers and sellers, and if we took a listing, we were to work that listing and do the right things for our seller to get that property sold. And if we were working with buyers, to do the things that we needed to do to help them make the right decision with their purchase. And if you do the right thing, then that's the best thing.
We felt like we had a great opportunity here since there really wasn't a lot of competition at that point, and we began to add slowly agents to the company. That was our plan, to pick up quality agents as we could, and we did throughout the years add quality agents, and that led to us being the leader in the industry.
One thing that we did is we opened a branch out in West Rome, and we almost doubled the size of the company overnight. I was the branch manager there, and we hired quite a few people, some from other companies and some we brought in and just trained. And it gave us a very quick, big presence in Rome.
I had been in the real estate business for some 11 years with Adrian Howell and Covington. And after being with them about 11 years, I went into the real estate business on my own called Ronnie Mixon Real Estate. There's some very fine companies in Rome, like Toles, Temple, and Wright, that I did a lot of business with because they had the majority of the good listings. So one day I went in there and the secretary said, "Ronnie, why don't you come over here? You're in here all the time getting keys, and you're showing and selling our houses." And they just kind of sloughed that off. And well, at some point, Brooke called me, Temple, and said, "Ronnie, why don't we talk?" And I said, "Fine, Brooke," because I respected Brooke very much. And he called me and he said, "Ronnie, I am going to be spending a lot of time away from my office. And there's an opportunity here for someone like you to come and really be the sales manager of this company." So that's how I went over and joined with Toles, Temple, and Wright.
One way we impacted the growth of Rome was I became a developing partner, first with Max Toles, very short-lived, and then Max retired, and Wayne Robinson came into the picture, and Wayne and I developed something like 9 subdivisions in Rome, which would include as many as 200 or 300 quality residential lots. Therefore, we offered the newcomers to town a place to build or a place to live. And this turned out to be a very important part of our business at Toles, Temple, and Wright.
I graduated from the University of Georgia in 1977. And after that, I stayed in Athens for about, I don't know, a year or so. And then I was recruited by Johnny Isaacson to go to work with Northside Realty. And so I moved to Atlanta for a couple of years. Didn't like the Atlanta lifestyle, so wanted to move back to Rome. And I had met Rick Brinkman, and he called me and asked me if I'd come by and talk to him when he found out I was going to be moving back to Rome, and I did. He introduced me to Sarah Wright. I kind of knew Sarah from a little bit in the past. And Sarah offered me a job to come on with Toles, Temple, and Wright as a sales agent. And I did that. Did it for a short time before they opened the West Rome office. And so I went out to the West Rome office with Rick. He was the broker out there. And so we did that for, I guess, a better part of another year and a half, and had it in my blood from working with my dad in the summers and all that to do construction. So there were some lots that Max had developed with Woodfin. So I bought a lot out there and built a spec house, and it went well. Sold it, closed it, and started another one. So kind of got the itch to maybe that's what I wanted to do. So did that, and about that time, Brooke and Max had developed a subdivision called River Place down off Horse Lake Creek Road. And he came to me, Brooke did, and said, if you're going to do this, you need to get into it, full time. And so they offered me part of River Place, which I purchased, and I don't remember the numbers, but at the time it seemed like a heck of a lot of money. But we developed that out. Max kind of decided he was pretty much through with development, so Brooke and I developed Hunt Cliff, a subdivision that was one of the more exclusive subdivisions that had been done in Rome, and some of the upper end homes. So we developed that. It was an exclusive development, so I did all the building in there. Those went extremely well. We got toward the end of that, we looked for another piece of property. We developed Hunter's Glen. From Hunter's Glen, another phase in Woodfin opened up. We developed Woodfin. Then it just kind of went from one development to the next. We did Woodfin, we did Brookwood, in addition to Brookwood Estates. We did Collinwood, the Oaks at Collinwood, Overhill. Then we went to Maplewood East. We did the Battle Farm. We did Berry Forest, Fairways. God, making me feel old, recounting all this. We did Hamilton Ridge Apartments. We did some commercial developments in the meantime. So Brooke and I have done a lot of development together over the years and always had the best working relationship that you could ask for.
Rome was beginning to really change, particularly medically. Who would have ever heard of having 5 neurosurgeons, in Rome at one time, 3 cardiothoracic surgeons. All of a sudden, we were servicing a healthcare population, and still do to this day, of about 350,000. Even though Rome in Floyd County is about 85,000, healthcare-wise, we're taking care of about 350,000 people. Well, all of these professional folks coming in with industry, and particularly the medical profession, this was an area that was targeted by Brooke and Wayne for this particular type person that Rome wanted, and they wanted to come to Rome. Once we could lick that problem, that adequate housing was here for them, it helped recruiters to get those people to come on to Rome, Georgia.
When Rome became such a hub for the medical community, they mostly came to our developments. I mean, we were offering the homes that they wanted and the areas that they wanted to be in. So yeah, I think it was a vast part of Rome's growth with all that we've done over the years. When you think back of how many homes that we've put into the marketplace here in Rome, it's pretty amazing.
I think we've created an environment of a very competitive real estate market. I think it's good to have the competition that we have, and we offered plenty of competition for others too. It's something that Rome needed, and there was a void there of quality real estate companies, and it ended up being exactly that. Worked out good for us.
We were the premier developers. Nobody else really was developing during most of that time that we were doing it. So we had the best game in town as far as subdivisions with choice lots, with choice locations. So it made a vast economic impact to Rome and supplied the market with the best homes and the best locations. And even today, those developments that we've done together are still some of the top-notch developments in Rome.
As I look back on what Toles Wright has become, we developed the best subdivisions. We built the more expensive homes. We drew doctors, lawyers, the professional people because of the properties that we were building, and that brought us listings of existing homes of doctors and lawyers and the people who could afford larger price range homes. So yes, I think we had a huge footprint in Rome, Georgia.
Toles Wright was great. I mean, they were involved before it became Toles Wright with Saddle Mountain and North Hills, Horse Leg Estates, but a lot of the newer subdivisions, River Ridge and Hunt Cliff, and some of the subdivisions on Horseleg Creek Road, some of which were in the city, or most of which were in the city. Then they had the developments in East Rome, and all of their developments were always first class, high-end products.
Brooke has just done a lot. The company in itself has done a lot for the community as far as houses go, and just getting involved. We all try to get involved and stay involved.
To be able to have people say, you know, I live in a house that you built. You know, I'm very proud of my house. You know, it's very rewarding to see that, and for Brooke and I to know that we had a major impact on the housing market here in Rome. To know that we offered things that others hadn't been offering, it is very rewarding. It's as I get older, things like that, you know, I look back on those things and it makes me dang tired to think how much of that we did. But it's very rewarding to be able to say, you know, I was involved in that.
And the thing about Toles, Temple, and Wright that most people don't realize, you take as much care of the individual in the lower end houses as you do in the one in the higher end houses. And it's all about developing relationships. They may start out on the lower end, but you end up selling them different houses along the way, and you develop a lifelong relationship with people.
When you're going to be represented professionally and honestly, that carries through even the bad times. We've seen a lot of downturns, but Toles, Temple, and Wright survived by being a top-notch company, which people in many cases would call first. People trust Toles, Temple, and Wright and know that they're going to be represented professionally and fairly.
In 1990, we moved to Turner McCall Boulevard. We built a building, and it was like magic. From that day forward, the real estate business changed. It became very vibrant. Rome has reached a new era in the real estate market. There's no question about it. We're on the heels of a lot of companies that in Atlanta, that of course will never be as big as an Atlanta company, but we have adopted a lot of the same procedures they have, and we, along with the Georgia multi-list, has really put Toles, Temple, and Wright and the city of Rome on the map.
Good, great, fun, hardworking. We're a team. We look to Brooke and Bill for guidance and to make sure we're doing the correct things.
Max was a unique individual. He was always dabbling in everything. I mean, I remember him having tanning products that he sold out of the trunk of his car. And Max would try them and to just kind of show you what his product was. And he came in one day and he was basically orange. And so, you know, just to see Max with these tanning products on and being orange, it was just, he was a character. He always had stuff in his trunk. He always was peddling something. So, very unique individual.
Sarah's office was right beside mine, and I'm telling you, she sold more real estate sitting behind a desk than most people do riding people around in their car. She had no problem telling you where you needed to live, and don't buy this house, buy this one. And don't go with them, go with them. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Anything you say. And she knew what she was talking about, too.
If I ever had any need as a young girl, I would always go to Sarah Wright and get the best, top-notch advice on how to handle things. She's my heart. There's probably not a day that I don't think of her.
Brooke Temple is probably one of the finest men I've ever known. He is a perfect Southern gentleman. He is a lot of fun. He does more in this community than most people will ever realize. He's very quietly helping and doing in the community. He doesn't like any recognition for that. He doesn't want anybody to even know he does it, but he's got a very, very big heart.
Brooke has a lot of integrity. I can honestly say, in the years that I've been with Brooke, he and I have never had a conflict. And that's saying a lot about him, knowing who I am. But Brooke and I have had a good association. I've always appreciated Brooke.
Brooke is all of that and more. The old story, I guess it could say the most. it'd be if I was ever in a foxhole, I'd want Brooke Temple to be there.